really appreciate it, man. It's obviously an exciting time for Carcass at the moment with a new album coming out. Good to see Carcass back, man. How are you guys feeling about it?
Well, personally, I feel indifferent and tired, but
Yeah, it's obviously the first new album since obviously the last one, Surgical Steel. But you did put out an EP last year. Is there any connection between the two, apart from obviously the single that you put out under the Scalpel Blade?
yeah, the songs are all from the same session, so it's songs that could have been on the album, but you know, most of the band wanted to keep the album to a certain time length or whatever, so we had those tracks left over. So we thought we'd release the EP as a stopgap because you know the album got delayed, just to give people something to listen to. So yeah, it's all from the same session. They're all written at the same time. So in some in some senses, it's just the EP is an extension of the album. So
Yeah, yeah. Now, this album also, the title itself, Torn Arteries, I believe if I'm getting this correct, there's some reference to, I guess, the roots of the band somewhat. Take us back to the beginning of where this title actually came from.
well, that's it in a nutshell. It was a project that Ken had, kind of pre-Carcass. So we're just tipping our hat to that. And it's a compromise title. It's something I brought in because the band couldn't decide on a title. So, I mean, personally, I would have called the album Still Life, but, you know, that didn't go down well. So, as a compromise, I suggested the title Torn Arteries. It's neutral because it's Ken's title. So, yeah, it's a nod to our past. You know, it keeps it within the Carcass family. So, cool title. Yeah.
And then sort of on the flip side of that, the album cover, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot in promotion for this album, it's obviously very different and stands out a lot. It's a very clean sort of looking album cover. What inspired that?
Well, I mean, the cover itself is plagiarizing some piece of art that I saw from someone won a competition in a hospital in Canada. I think the piece was called Eat Your Heart Out, so it's someone else's interpretation of that piece of artwork. But in itself, that piece of artwork's not very original anyway. I'm sure the concept's been done a lot of times. Yeah, it is clean. Yes, I can't remember exactly the remit I gave to the artist, but I mean, yeah, I wanted a clean white sleeve because it's something we've never had, you know. And it's the exact opposite of the normal dark, heavy, gloomy thing. So yeah, it's clinical, isn't it? It looks more like a coffee table book. So.
I mean, it looks very artsy, and I guess that kind of it almost somewhat contradicts what Carcass is about in some sort of respect, musically speaking, because obviously Carcass is known for being sort of quite heavy and extreme and things like that. And you listen to this album, which I've had a chance to listen to, and it's obviously got all the Carcass elements and the signature sound and all that. But then you look at the cover and go, where's the connection, Like, it's almost like a contrast between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a million miles removed from Heartwork or Surgical Steel. It's obviously just a lot cleaner and a lot more white. But yeah, I mean, personally, I've never been a big... I mean, I don't mind some album covers that are fantasy or paintings or whatever, but I've always been more into, like, photorealism, so I mean, that's why we've got a photo on the cover, and... yeah, I mean, it's just to be awkward, We don't want to look like a typical heavy metal band, so...
Yeah, yeah. Now, obviously, Surgical Steel came out back in 2013, and sort of looking back on that album now and looking what you've created here with this new album, how would you compare the two? Do you feel that it sort of evolved over those last few years?
I don't think there's a massive difference between this album and the last one. I mean... to me, it feels like we could have all the songs of Surgical in this album could have all been written at the same time. That's the way I see it, I see it's just a continuation of what we did in the last album, but this album's a lot more rockier, I think. If our last album was a thrash album, then this is more of a heavy metal album. So, but you can tell it's the same band. It still sounds like Carcass. I don't think there's nothing radical about this album. We've not started really experimenting or doing anything crazy. So if people like Carcass, then this at the end of the day, this is a strong Carcass album. it's not. Is it our best album? Well, not necessarily. I mean, I'm personally, I'm as tired as everyone else of bands saying this is our greatest album. It's hard to be that. It's hard to be that objective. All I'd say is this is a very strong Carcass album.
Yeah.
And that's all you can set out to achieve.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you sort of take stock and sort of listen to see what other people sort of say, negative or positive, as far as your music's concerned?
Yeah, I try not to, but sometimes you can't resist it. You do have a look, and yeah. Of course it's nice when it's positive, but and it's annoying when it's negative. But the truth is, even when it's positive, it's annoying if people like things for the wrong reasons. And the only reason I find negativity annoying is because it's so like simplistic and you never give it real substance. I don't mind criticism as long as it's grounded and got real substance to it. But it's the same with anything positive. I can't stand people just being sycophantic.
Yeah.
I mean, people shouldn't just like this album just because it's Carcass. You know what I mean? So if people can't justify why they like something, that can be just as annoying as someone saying they think it's shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. I mean, I guess a band does sort of reach that point where fans kind of are just following along because it is that sort of band. Do you feel that you kind of got swept up in a little bit of that by the time you hit like Heartwork and things like that, or?
No, because with each album we've shed fans. Even since the first album. I mean, there's people that only like the first period. There's people who only like Regan symphonies and can't even stand necroticism. But yet some people think necroticism. You know what I mean? There's people who just like certain periods of the band. And I'm sure there's going to be people that buy this album that are going to say, they're not going to like it. They're going to think Surgical Steel was good, but this isn't. And in some respects, that's good because it shows that that you are kind of bean creative. I think there's very few fans that have liked Carcass from Reek all the way through. You'd have to have a very eclectic taste to like all the albums, well, there are some people, which is cool, but I can see a bit of a backlash, some pushback this album, honestly. I mean, the last album was so well received. It's just the law, isn't it, that where you've had that so much quote success, there's always some back. People have always got in for you, and you can't. Lightning never seems to strike twice. So, I'm not. I'm expecting this album to get some pushback. So.
When you started coming up with ideas for this album and writing songs and stuff, because of the success of Surgical Steel and the fact that album was sort of the return of Carcass, so to speak, did you feel any kind of pressure at all with this particular album?
No, you just got to do what you got to do. You can't really get concerned about those things. You write the stuff in a bubble, and you're not really. You weren't sitting there thinking, what can we write to please people, or what can we write to piss people off? You just do what you do and go in. It's nothing more serious than that. Nothing more serious than drum kit, bass guitar, and guitar.
Getting back to the album Torn Arteries, the song track list here is obviously it's in sort of in line with what Carcass are known for, but I do have to say that second track, Dance of I hope I pronounced this right, Ixtab or something. That's a very interesting title. What does that title mean, and where does it come from?
Google. What does it mean? I mean, Ixtab is the muse of suicide, so it's about her attempted seduction of somebody, I guess. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time I write lyrics and then have to put a meaning into it later. I mean, the title was something that I just threw on at the end, because I didn't like the working title, so. In a way, I wish I hadn't bothered, because people seem to think the song's about suicide, but it's not. I mean, the song's a lot more positive than that. It's about, I guess, if I had to really bring it down to some really childish level, maybe the song is about someone conquering the feelings of suicide, So I guess the Dance of Ixtab is her attempt to seduce somebody who's feeling down into, taking their own life. But the song isn't as simple as that. I mean, The actual song substance is about a game of hangman. I don't know. You know the game Hangman?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
play with pen and paper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit similar to Corporeal Jigsaw Quandary. That song is about making a human jigsaw, and this song is about playing a game of Hangman, but in some kind of, visceral 3D world where it's a real gallows being made. But then there's a lot of references to lap dancing moves in the song, so it's a very strange song. It's maybe lyrically it's close as something a song like Choking It by Death. In all honesty, I mean, I never realised this until I thought about it the other day. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to quantify these things and put it into simple terms because I don't write a narrative. I don't sit down with, here's an idea, this is what the song, and the song title, and I didn't start the song with a song title, Song title was put on at the end to make it seem a bit more exotic.
Like writing music like that. I mean, what inspires you? I mean, first of all, what inspired that particular song, and what in general inspires you when you sit down and write songs?
Well, obviously I can only talk about the lyrics, can't I? So
yeah,
I think the music on Surgical in this album has dictated the lyrics. It's just a feeling that it gives you, So, I mean, you just put pen to paper, or most of the time it's typing into a bloody iPhone nowadays.
Yeah.
You just write things that you think sound cool, and then you try and shoehorn it into the music. It's a lot different from someone sitting there with a guitar and strumming and writing 3 chords and writing lyrics that fit.
Yeah.
I have to really edit things down, ideas, and try and concentrate into 2 words what really should be said in 2 sentences. So I would say it's difficult in that sense. I mean, it's not. I mean, you just get on with it. But I would say the music has dictated the mood of the lyrics and taken where the songs go.
Has that process changed a lot over the years, or has it largely been the same?
Yeah, because there might have been a case on the first or second album where someone wrote the riffs and the lyrics at the same time, so which is more real songwriting. We're in a situation now where someone's writing music and then someone else has to write the lyrics and fit it in. So it's always a compromise. But things have always constantly changed. There's no real method. It's whatever works for the song.
Yeah. We were supposed to see you down in Australia last year for the Download Festival, and unfortunately you guys had to pull out because of the COVID situation. So obviously that was a year and a half ago now, so it's been an interesting sort of time since then.
Yeah, it was literally 3 days before we were meant to fly out, and everything, the world just turned to shit. So, I mean, it's been nice having a break in the hiatus. I mean, otherwise, we were meant to take time out years ago to make the album, and we got offered a Slayer tour, and so that year was thrown out the window, and we just continued. And I'm sure if the COVID thing hadn't happened, we would have just continued playing and playing and playing. Maybe we might have burnt ourselves out. But it's a real negative thing. It's been nice having the break, but it's got a bit stupid now because it's been so long. We haven't played 1.5 years. So we're going to be extremely rusty. I mean, we're pretty tight and pretty solid, after 7 years of playing since the last album came out, and now it's going to be like back to basics. It's going to be pretty hard work. Well, it's hardly working down a coal mine, but yeah, it's going to be quite grueling.
Yeah.
But if it's a big if. It's not like anyone can tour anyway. I mean, the UK seems to be settling down, and some concerts are happening, but I haven't seen any proper tours happen yet, just in the UK, I mean, on top of that, we've got the Brexit thing to deal with as well, which is going to make life difficult. So, yeah, the whole world's turned upside down, It's ball ache.
Yeah, it's certainly been an interesting time. But look, as soon as things sort of get back to some kind of normalcy, we'd love to have you back down here because it's been. I was trying to think the last time you were down in Australia was must have been a few years ago now.
It'd been like 2016 maybe, or 15
Something
or
like
16.
that, yeah.
But who knows, maybe we'll never come down there again. I mean, you guys have seemed to be on this path of eradicating COVID, and if you do that, you open the borders again, then you're going to get flooded, so maybe your borders will never open.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same with the States. I mean, we're living in strange times. I mean, I don't buy into all conspiracy stuff, but we live in very weird, restricted times, and people talk in terms of the world returning back to the way it was. Maybe it never will. I mean, I'm not trying to be a doom monger. It's just,
no,
it's been 1.5 years, and we might be having the same conversation in another 1.5 years. You know.
Yeah, you never know. Hopefully not, but I guess we'll have to see how we go. But in the meantime, congratulations on the new album, man, and hopefully at some point we'll get to hear it live as well.
Well, hopefully, yeah. Maybe I'll be in my 60s by then, but it would be cool. Yeah, it's always great to get down to Australia, so yeah, let's see.
Yeah, well, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it, man, and good luck for the new album.
Cheers, Andrew. Thanks, mate. Have a good day, or a good evening, I guess.
Yeah, you too, man.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Thanks, man.